objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess of the committee at any point. Pursuant to Committee Rule 3 and House Rule 11, the chair may postpone further proceedings today on any vote relating to any matter under consideration during today's markup. As a reminder, all members on the WebEx platform should keep themselves muted and should only unmute themselves when they are recognized. The staff have been instructed not to mute members except when a member is not being recognized and there is inadvertent background noise. Members on the WebEx platform are also reminded that they may only participate in one remote proceeding at a time. So if you're participating today, please keep your camera on. And if you choose to attend a different remote proceeding, please turn your camera off. To facilitate recognition of members who are seeking recognition, members are encouraged to identify themselves by name. For members who are participating in person, wearing a mask at all times while in the hearing room is indeed a requirement, including while speaking into a microphone when recognized. This is based on guidance from the Office of the Attending Physician, and the chair will treat wearing masks as a matter of order and decorum. Members who do not wish to wear a mask may participate virtually through the WebEx platform. We will be collecting and distributing amendments electronically to ensure all members have access to relevant documents in this hybrid format. Members who are participating in person are encouraged to have their own devices with them to access the amendments electronically. All amendments must be submitted to the committee email provided in the meeting notice. The amendment will then be given a unique identifier for reference and distributed to all members through an email list that was developed in advance in coordination with the ranking member. As is the chair's practice, amendments that are pre-filed will be given priority consideration. While we're trying to make this process as familiar as we can, we must recognize the limitations that go with ensuring the safety of all members. So I ask for members to be patient with delays and other limitations we face in this hybrid format. So without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to revise and extend their remarks and to submit additional materials to the chair for inclusion in the record. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes for opening remarks. Today, we're here to mark up a series of important measures. I'm very pleased that following the committee's hearing in March on racial justice and racial equity, today the committee will be considering several bills by committee Democrats to improve diversity and inclusion and create fairness in our housing system. These bills include Representative Meek's bill, H.R. 1277, the Improving Corporate Governance Through Diversity Act, which would require public companies to report on their board and executive leadership diversity. Representative Beatty's bill, H.R. 2123, the Diversity and Inclusion Data Accountability and Transparency Act, which would make reporting of diversity data and policies to the offices of minority and women inclusion by regulated entities mandatory. Representative Green's bill, H.R. 2516, the Promoting Diversity and Inclusion in Banking Act, which would require federal banking regulators to evaluate bank diversity and inclusion policies and procedures as part of determining their CAMELS rating. Representative Cleaver's bill, H.R. 2553, the Real Estate Valuation Fairness and Improvement Act, which is aimed at addressing disparate impact in the home appraisal process. And my bill, H.R. 2543, the Federal Reserve Racial and Economic Equity Act, which would direct the Federal Reserve to address the racial employment and wage gaps as part of its mission. At this markup, we will also consider bills to strengthen disclosures by public companies, including Representative Foster's bill, H.R. 1087, the Shareholder Political Transparency Act, which would require public companies to report on their expenditures for political activities, and Representative Vargas's bill, H.R. 1187, the ESG Disclosure Simplification Act, which would require public companies to report and define environmental, social, and governance metrics. In the midst of the pandemic crisis, predatory debt collectors have made record profits while continuing with their abusive, harassing tactics while consumers struggle to make ends meet through no fault of their own. At this markup, we will consider my bill, H.R. 2547, the Comprehensive Debt Collection Improvement Act, which includes several measures by Representatives Velasquez, Meeks, Cleaver, Dean, Tlaib, Presley, and Auchincloss to protect our consumers from abuses by debt collectors. I'm also pleased that we will consider resolutions to reestablish the committee's task forces on financial technology and artificial intelligence. Finally, we will mark up the committee's views and estimates on the budget for fiscal year 2022. I would like to thank the members for their work on these measures and look forward to advancing them.